Hello folks and welcome to Linux for Seniors. Actually, Linux is for everyone. So this is my second project in the last about 3 or 4 years doing Linux videos. My last video channel was around 450 videos or somewhere in that range. Linux for Seniors, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. These videos will be more than 2 minutes. I will try to explain things in simpler terms, and more importantly, targeting audience towards seniors or young at heart or just plain everyone. But more importantly, my new channel is growing, so I do encourage that you subscribe for multiple reasons. One is you can start this and other videos and stop them and then watch some more tomorrow, the next day, and whatever. In other words, start it where you left off. And also have access to my other videos. I'll be doing more videos for Linux Mint later. And I also have other Linux distribution videos there also. Let's just move on, folks, and I'll say welcome to Linux for Seniors. Let me first give you system information. I do have some custom icons in here to forewarn you. So I'm going to use Neofetch for system info. And I am going to display that. So this is Linux Mint 21.1, the latest version of the Cinnamon desktop. And basically, again, got some custom icons. So let me get rid of that one and change that to the Linux Mint one, because I can do that in a couple seconds. And then I'll talk about the file manager and also mouse pointers. How about if we change the background to something darker? Let's do that first. How's that? Let me make sure my automatic wallpaper changer is paused. It is. And there you be. I'm going to change my icon back to what I had it. I think you get the idea that that's the Mint icon. Okay, now let's move on. So I'm going to right click on this semi-see-through panel bar and hit System Settings. And in your system settings, you have themes. You also have the mouse and touchpad. This is more used for the size of the pointer and the speed and other kind of settings. The themes part, the mouse pointer part on I think the previous version used to be down here somewhere, the mouse pointer area. And I'm just going to point out the fact that I added some to the mix. So some of these mouse pointers are actually stored in a different location on the hard drive than the ones that I have installed here, like this one. And this one, for instance, are stored in a different location. And I'll show you how to put these things in less than 30 seconds. It'll take me longer to explain this. But I'm going to do it in a methodical way of explaining it all the way from scratch. Okay? So let me first get rid of the folder that I have these stored in there so you can get the full picture. So I'm going to close that for a second. And I'm going to open up the file manager Nemo. And hopefully you've seen my latest video on Linux for Seniors for Nemo, your file manager for Mint. I just got done producing that, I believe, yesterday. I show you all kinds of tips and tricks in there. Forget about the script files. I'm going to be talking about mostly folders here. But more importantly, I wanted to make you aware that I have an icons folder here before I get going. And that folder contains some silly icons. All right, the folder I'm after, though, is .icons. So I'm going to right-click and point out the fact that you can display hidden files and folders. You can also go to the View area and then click on Show Hidden Files, or even use the keyboard equivalent, Control-H. So anything that has a dot in front of it, like that .dbus, is a hidden folder. There's also hidden files in here. The folder I'm after is this one, .icons. Currently contains 4 mouse themes. Let me right-click System Settings and point those out to you. Those 4 mouse themes are Azenis, this one, Night Diamond Red, this one, Pulse Glass, this one, and Radioactive, this one. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to first make sure my trash is empty, and I'm going to dump the trash, go back up one, and I'm going to go back up another. And what I'm going to do is delete this folder totally. Trash can it, in other words. It's in the trash. All right, just want to let you see it's in the trash can. Now I'm going to go back to my system settings and allow you to see what the default mouse themes for the system for Linux Mint 21.1 is. These are the ones for the system. You notice my other mouse pointers are no longer here. So where are these stored if I deleted that folder? Let me first get this out of the way so we don't have any more questions of where they're stored. Under your file system, in other words root, under the USR, I'm only going to show this a couple of times or once and basically state that you don't need to do any of that, but I want you to be aware of where this mouse pointer is stored. Share and icons. So I'll toggle this path as user share icons. That's the name of this mouse pointer. That mouse pointer is this one right here. Okay, so that one is this one. The bit by Bata Modern Classic is that one, and the one next to it is Ice, that one. All right, hopefully that's clear. Now, why don't I put my mouse pointers in here? I can. These are called system-wide type of mouse pointers. In other words, they're available for current users and future users if you place them in here. However, to show this to new users is kind of cumbersome because this folder is protected by root permissions. You will need to have root access to add and remove files. So if you add mouse files to this, you would have to have root permissions. You do not need that in your home folder. That's the nice thing about this one. So do I want to restore this or create this from scratch and show you how to do this from scratch? I could do a restore, but I'm not. I'm actually going to create this from scratch. I'm going to turn off my hidden folders and files for a second just to make some extra room. And I'm going to right click and create a new folder, but I'm going to start it with dot and type in icons. If you already have this folder, it'll complain there's a duplicate, and it does not. So that dot icons folder, if I were to show hidden and then go back, it's gone. Why is it gone? Because I did a screen refresh, because this is normally a hidden folder. It doesn't show a hidden folder or file. So let's right click and show hidden files and find that dot icons folder. Let's do this from scratch, folks. If you want to do this almost together, you can always stop this video and then do this yourself on your computer with Linux Mint. So what I'm going to do here is, why am I making this box smaller? Because I'm going to create another window just to explain how this works. It's a lot easier to explain it with two boxes. And it's a lot easier to transfer files this way too. Now, again, watch my video for Nemo, the file manager. So I'm going to go to the home screen and again double check my path to that dot icons folder and open it and leave it there. Okay, can I make this a little bit bigger? Why not? And I'm going to toggle the entry so you can see that's the hidden folder, the dot icons, not the icon folder. You remember I got silly icons in that one. There's nothing here. So that means that all of my mouse pointers are all stock. In other words, they're installed in the system-wide installation folder under user share icons. That's what these are stored. So what I'm going to do here is add some mouse pointers. Now, do I want to do the full download first, or just explain to you that I have already mouse pointers which I can click and drag into here? Why don't we do this completely from scratch? So basically, I'm going to download the actual files and do this in front of you. So I'm going to close that and I'll leave the screen up. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, let's just go to downloads and leave it there. So I have something that I created using web apps, and I'll be doing a video a little bit later on. So again, subscribe of how to make these kind of things. These are web-based icons. This one actually goes to my home router. You can see the address right here. So this one here is Linux for Seniors. This goes directly to my YouTube site. It's not a big deal. You can do this through a regular web browser too. But more importantly, I'm going to click that because I have a shortcut to it. So when you get on to my YouTube site, and hopefully you have subscribed, click the About section and scroll down to the bottom. What you want is this gnome-look.org. This is a non-profit website. It's been around for many years. This used to have over 1,200 cursors. Cursors are mouse pointers. So I'm going to click that for a second. So a lot of times when you're looking for a new mouse pointer, you want to take a look at the sizes if it's available for display. And I'll give you the example between a 24 and a 72. So the 24 is real small compared to a 72. It's the size of the pointer, is what I'm getting at. Like that says a 36 by 36, for instance. Now, I'm going to look for the Azenis mouse pointer in this website. Again, this is a non-profit website. Now, the Azenis mouse pointer comes in many sizes. And one I like is the variable one, which is this one. Now, the other one, let me go back in here and punch in Azenis again. Just to give you a reference of what a 32 and a 48 look like, they'll be quite small. The 32 being smaller than the 48, for instance. So let's click this. So that is the mouse pointer that I showed originally when I opened up the video. And there's really only one file in here. And I'm going to click it. I don't mess with any of this junk down here. I click the actual compressed file to download. So tar.bz is a compressed file. So I'm going to click it and then just download it. Again, this is a non-profit website. I normally don't recommend downloading a lot of stuff off the internet, to be honest with you. So let me just minimize that for now. And that file is sitting right here. I know my download folder is quite busy. So I'm going to create a folder. I'll just call that mouse, just for any name. Why am I creating a folder? Because normally I would suggest when you uncompress files, you uncompress them inside of a folder. There's a couple of ways to uncompress anything in Linux Mint. You can double click and hit extract. I advocate right-clicking and extract here. Why do I advocate this method? Because it creates a folder, and that's what you want. You do not want to extract and have two of these sitting there. It will not work. You need to have it in a folder. So let me move this over here and do this way. Create a new window. Move this over here. They're currently identical. So I'm going to go to my home folder and look for that hidden folder, that .icons folder. There it is. And it's currently empty, correct? So this mouse pointer is called Azenis. I'm going to right click and just let you see that it's not here currently. There's no Azenis in here. So what I'm going to do is close that. You can also go backwards, but I do recommend that you close it for simplicity purposes. Again, we're dealing with .icons, and all I'm going to do is click drag and drop. All right, now I'm going to right click on this thing, go to System Settings, go to Themes, and now that theme is in here. That is this mouse pointer right here. So this is what is called a local storage type of mouse. In other words, the mouse pointer is stored on your local user. T-Man icons. In other words, this is not somebody else's home folder. This is my home folder. So if you got multiple users, you could also do that, and they all have to do this independently. The other mouse pointers they'll get. Why is that? Because it's stored in the user share icons folder, which are called system-wide mouse pointers. That's most of these. Let me do a couple more, but do it in a different light. So I'm going to close this again. And if you don't want to close this, by the way, this does not refresh properly unless you do this and go back in here. So I'm just going to close it because the screen is getting a little cluttered. So I'm going to go back to my download folder and back into my mouse pointers because I have downloaded a bunch of these things off that website. What's that website again? Gnome-Look.org. There are plenty of mouse pointers in here. The next one I'm going to talk about is Radioactive, and it has a very good description of this. All the stuff that I'm going to talk about. So let's do that one. So I have a bunch of compressed files that I downloaded off that same website. Some of these have uncompressed and some not. So let me do the uncompression in here. So Radioactive is sitting right here. That's the one I'm going to talk about next. I'm going to right click on it and extract here. And then grab a hold of the folder and drag and drop it over here. Pulse Glass was another one I also deleted earlier, if you remember. I'm going to extract that one. Another one was that Night Diamond Red, I think it was called, this one. extract here. So all of these I've extracted into a folder. So all of these are in proper formatting. So if I now go right click System Settings, Themes, I should have some extra mouse themes, and I do. Let's cover these. Let me move this out of the way for a second. So Azenis, this one right here is that one. The Night Diamond Red is this one. And then I have the Pulse Glass is this one. And the Radioactive is this one. Now you notice the other two in the middle are small. This is what I meant by the mouse pointer size. Let me leave it on Radioactive for a reason. I'm going to back out of the screen for a second. I'm still in System Settings. I'm going to scroll downstairs to Hardware, into Mouse and Touchpad, and talk about the pointer size for a second. It's currently set for larger, or the largest. This is kind of like the midpoint. As I drag this south or to the left to make it smaller, you can see this guy is very tiny. However, I'm going to point out to the display size for a second for resolution. My resolution is 38 by 40, which is quite high, almost considered 4K. When you're operating this mouse pointer in this range here, the 800 by 600, some laptops, that's all you get out of this. Some of these mouse pointers will be large. All right, so I want to go back and resize this thing to the larger size. Go back upstairs, go pick another theme, just to let you see Azenis. This is the variable size one. I could have downloaded the 32 or 48, but I downloaded the variable, and I can prove that by going to Mouse and Touchpad and dragging this bar the other way. If this becomes tiny, which it just did, believe it or not, that mouse pointer is still here. Hopefully you're watching this on anything bigger than your mobile device. But more importantly, it is tiny, mid-size, right about there. So that'd be around 32 or 48, somewhere in that range. All right, now I'm going to go back upstairs and pick one of these Night Diamond Red or Pulse Glass, whichever one. So just to give you the example of the cursor size, and go downstairs to Mouse and Touchpad and drag that from larger to smaller, and you notice that that did not change at all. Smaller to larger, the mouse pointer did not change. That's what I'm referring to, one size. I could go in the middle, it doesn't matter. However, this mouse pointer does look very nice in a lower resolution, such as the 800 by 600. This one also does tricks, it pulsates. You can probably see it right there. I'm not doing anything to it. And more importantly, let's see what the other one looks like. That one was called Pulse Glass, was it? Yes. So Pulse Glass also looks like it's non-resizable. Again, I can drag that to the smallest. This one has kind of a blue tint to it, and it glows and pulsates. You can probably see it. I'll go to larger, it doesn't do anything as far as size is concerned. However, this would work fine if I'm in lower screen resolution modes, such as these lower half ones here. And sometimes that's all you need, all you're working with. A lot of your older laptops, if you have Linux Mint installed on them, you're at a fixed screen size. Just wanted to point that out. So let me change this back to here. Now I'm back to this one. Now the nice thing about installing mouse pointers in dot icons is you can do maintenance rather easily. So if you are playing around testing mouse pointers, and it doesn't matter what you drag in here as long as they're in a folder, and you're playing with them and you're testing them out, and now you don't like them. Let me see what's in my trash. My old dot icons folder, I'm going to trash that one, because I can do this rather easily. It takes me longer to explain these things. But let's say I don't want the Pulse Glass and the Night Diamond for whatever reason. I can drag a line through both of them, or just do them individually and hit delete, and they're in my trash. When I go to my system settings, both of those mouse themes are gone. They're not there anymore. So I got 2 rows plus 1. So if I change my mind, I can do a restore. Just drag drag a line through those and do a restore. They go back to where they came from. And more importantly, I should be having the mouse pointers now back online, which is that night diamond red and pure glass. Here's pure glass, here's night diamond red. So you can do this all day long. So, but this is easier for you as a home user to maintain, is this folder. You can delete the whole folder if you like. You'll still have your mouse pointers. Let me give you that example. My trash can is empty. I'm going to delete this whole folder on purpose. I'm going to click on it and hit delete. It's gone. Right click, system settings. And you don't see Azenis anymore, but it kept the remnants of it. So as soon as I were to reboot, it would switch to probably this one, or complain. But anytime you delete a mouse pointer, my suggestion is to switch that to something different. Whether it's the first one or something different from the system, that's fine. But these are the ones that are installed where again? In the USR share icons folder. In other words, they're system-wide type of mouse pointers. If I needed to restore that folder, which I can, go to my trash can, right-click, or hit restore, it doesn't really matter. They go back, and now they're available again for me to play with. There they are. They're back online. So one more recap. If you don't have the folder, you can create it yourself. You can create it even while you're not viewing the hidden files or folders. Let me get rid of this 2 boxes, and we'll make this one larger. You could create the folder while you're still here. Just make sure that it is spelled like I made mention of. Let me hit Control H. You need to make sure that it's spelled correctly. It is .icons, lowercase. That's where those need to go. That's very important. I also have a folder called icons. That is very different. Obviously, you can see there's no mouse pointers in here. This one does. I hope that I'm not confusing you here. It's very easy to create hidden folders. Right click, create. I'll create another one. .test1. .test1 is a hidden folder. Let me prove that to you. I'm going to hit Control. Well, I can use Control H or just unclick this. You don't see that folder anymore. .test1 is not here. There's test2 and another one that has a test-2. And then there's some script files in here. So as soon as I hit Control H, then I can see that folder. Okay, so I am looking for a hidden folder. There is test1, and anyways, you get the idea. What is in test1? There's nothing in there, so I can just delete it. But this is the folder that you should create. You know, it used to be in the past, and I'm going to back this up a little bit here, because I've been using Linux Mint for many years. It used to be in the past when you actually clicked on themes, it would generate that folder if it wasn't in your system automatically. I don't believe it does that anymore. But you can certainly manually create that folder. Okay, just as an FYI. So a recap, where do you get the stuff? Where do you get these themes? Again, if you want a shortcut, go to my YouTube site. Click the About section, scroll to the bottom, look for gnome-look.org, click that, click the cursor themes, go take a look at some of these, see if you like any of these. You can go by ratings also, or you can go and directly search for icons. Keep in mind, a lot of times you want to take a look at this kind of stuff. That's the physical size of the pointer, so that goes from 24 to 64. A lot of these mouse pointers will also contain more than one file, and a lot of times you're just guessing at it. So this has 2 themes, a dark and a light, hence they got the cursors. I'm assuming that's dark, and that one does say light on it, so I'm assuming that's, oh yeah, here it does, description right here. So you can download either one of these or both and install both of them if you like, for instance. And some of them may contain more than one file. Let me show you radioactive for a second. and cover this if I skipped over it earlier. I apologize if I did. This shows you the light and dark version of that particular mouse pointer. Which mouse pointer was this again? Right click, settings. I'm just going to pick the right one. This is this mouse pointer right here. You can actually see it looks exactly like it. More importantly, there are 3 files here. This is the one you want. This is an example of what the sizes are, that PNGs zip. Let me go to my downloads because I actually have it here for a demo. 96 is the size of the pointer and 24 is the size of the pointer, which would be quite small compared to that size. That's all this file does and shows you. I think if you even open it, it'll actually show you the size of the pointers. I'll have to wait for it to build the icons, and I'm not going to do that. So let's go back here, and so again, that's the main file. This is just a sample of these cursor files in different sizes in PNG format, and that's the actual project online. The other thing I wanted to point out is the stuff I've been talking about. If you take a good look at this information, this may be confusing to some, but this represents a compressed file. But I just want you to focus in on this part. The .home or $home is your home folder, your current user in other words. My current user's name is T-Man. That's the name of my home folder. Whatever you named your user is what that refers to. And the / dot icons is that folder that it refers to, not this folder. Remember, hidden files? It is referring to, and there's a lot of stuff in here, so it'll probably take me a second to find it. Of course, when you're looking for things, you can't find things, right? Yeah, it gets confusing. Oh, there it is. I skipped over it. It's right here. So that's referring to that. That's what this statement is referring to. Create yourself a folder called .icons. Is all that's stating. That's for your local user, your current user. To a system-wide installation, what that means, translation, is for everybody and future user. I actually showed you where this was. The user share icons folder is not a hidden folder, but it is protected by root permissions. That means you can't remove or add files to it unless you have root permissions. Root permissions, sudo permissions, super user do permissions, that kind of stuff. Okay? Anyways, so just be careful in there if you are going to be placing your mouse cursors in this field. I would prefer that you stick with this one for simplicity. And it's easier maintenance too. I can delete and undelete these in a couple seconds. I can also create the 2 boxes and transfer these folders in here also, as long as I have the downloads ready to go. So go find yourself something in this. If you don't like the current mouse pointers that Linux Mint has, go to this website here and go look through those 789 cursors and find something that is appealing to you. There's many pages in here. You can also do this by ratings. I think I'm done talking, folks. Anyway, stay tuned for my future videos on all kinds of subject matter. I'll be even talking about custom themes and hidden folders too, somewhere down the line. I'm talking about adding some extra desktop themes, if you're curious. But I have some additional tips moving down the pike on all kinds of distributions, Linux Mint included, so stay tuned for those and subscribe. On that note, I will say thank you for watching this video on Linux for Seniors, and I will say have a wonderful day.